the MS Michigan Man 64 podcast. My name is Brian Wallace, and I am the MS Michigan Man 64. The MS Michigan Man 64 podcast is about chronic disease awareness. I have had multiple sclerosis for the last 27 years. It's an invisible chronic disease that I've been battling for half of my life. I want to share with you what it is like living with the chronic disease from my experiences and the experiences of other chronic disease warriors. We can fight to have a voice to those that want to listen. Together, we can motivate and educate. Hi, welcome to the MS Michigan Man 64 podcast, where I am trying to spread awareness about what it is like living with chronic disease. I've been living with multiple sclerosis for the last 27 years. I talk about my journey as well as the journey of other chronic disease warriors all over the world, just to try to help people understand what it is like living with the chronic disease, every aspect of it, how it changes our life. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and share it out. We want our stories to be heard. We want our lives to be understood, where we're coming from. Today, I am sitting down with an MSer from Virginia. I met Ashleigh a couple months ago on TikTok, and I love everything about her. She is an absolute fighter. She's the daughter of a Navy vet too, and I want to give props out to our military vets. I love everything that her dad is doing with the vets. But Ashleigh got diagnosed with her MS in 2014, and she wanted to come on and talk about her journey. Please welcome to the podcast, Ashleigh. How you doing today, Ashleigh?
I'm doing great, Brian. How are you?
I'm doing all right, Ashleigh. I'm doing all right. Ashleigh, I know you got diagnosed in 2014, and you were really young. You were just starting your life out. Can you kind of take us through your journey? What was going on with you? What kind of symptoms you were having? What threw the red flag that you needed to go to the doctor to try to get everything figured out?
So I woke up one morning and I could not see out of my right eye. Now, a couple days prior, I was cooking bacon and the grease had spattered up and it had gotten in my eyelashes. So I thought back to that time and I was like, is that what it could be?
Right.
Well, it didn't go away. The blindness just kept going and getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
So I had gone to the emergency room and they were like talking about how optic neuritis was one of the first symptoms of multiple sclerosis in a lot of scenarios.
Yeah.
And when they were throwing that word around the room, multiple sclerosis, I felt like my entire world was crashing down around.
How old were you?
Um,
How old were you at this time, Ashleigh?
I was 22, about to be 23.
Jeez, oh man. I mean, you're basically just starting life out, and you're waking up one day and you lose vision in one eye. I can't even imagine how scared you had to have been.
Yes, I was so scared because I had a young son and I was so scared I would never get that sight back and I didn't know how bad it was going to get.
Yeah. That was my first symptom too, Ashley, back when I got diagnosed in 1997. Uh, I started to trip. So, I mean, that was a symptom, but my vision was, I started seeing double. And I couldn't tell
Mhm.
I couldn't tell the difference between red, yellow, and green at a traffic light. And that just scared me to death. I was 27 at the time. I can't even imagine being a 21, 22-year-old going through the similar situation. And, they told me the same thing, optic neuritis. And I was scared. And how did they, so you're getting told this by the eye doctor about it being optic neuritis and possibility of being MS, but you still don't have that diagnosis yet. And, how did you end up, did they refer you to a neuro then?
Yes, so I was referred out by my doctor to get MRIs done.
Hmm.
Or I'm sorry, to the neurologist.
Hmm.
And the neurologist went ahead and ordered the MRIs.
Okay.
And what they showed was that I had innumerable amounts of T3 matter on my brain.
Wow. So
And
they
then again, I was scared shitless.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But so they didn't even need to do a spinal tap on you then, right?
No, no, they didn't. I had enough lesions on my brain and being innumerable that it was enough to just diagnose me.
That's really interesting, Ash. I hear that so often from people that get their diagnosis and then they get that word innumerable lesions. And yeah, that's the first thing I think. You were having symptoms a long time before that, and it sounds like you were in the same boat. So when they ended up finally diagnosing you, and you're having the vision problems, how did they treat you? Did they get you on the Salumedrol, the steroid treatment right away? And did that help your vision at all?
So they did not get me on steroids right away. They didn't even do that. I just had to go through it and get through it. So I lost my sight in my right eye for probably 3 weeks, and then it gradually came back.
On its own, it came back.
Yes.
Wow, wow. So, and then we had another interesting conversation, and I want you to talk a little bit about it. When you finally did get that diagnosis, how did your doctor tell you that you had multiple sclerosis?
Oh man. Well, first of all, it was on September 11th of 2014. That's already a hard day as it is, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And so they had called me and I picked up and they just straight up said, it's looking like you have multiple sclerosis.
I can't believe
And
I can't believe that they did that with a phone call. And that just is
I know.
that just blows me away. I hear that from so many people. I was told face to face. Thank God. I don't even know how I would have handled a phone call back when I was 26 years old, 27. But I cannot believe that your doctor's office just did that with a phone call. I think that that is a mistake. That is a mistake by whatever healthcare system we're talking about. Um, in my opinion, after doing this for almost 28 years, I guess we can call it 28 years now, that when you get that diagnosis of a chronic disease, and I don't care if it's MS, but the word chronic, that means it's never going away. A mental health professional should
Mhm.
be involved in it, and it should be a face to face because that is a big life changing diagnosis. And I totally, totally empathize with you getting that phone call. That is a terrible way to being told that you have multiple sclerosis. It's bullshit,
Yeah,
Ashley.
it was devastating.
Yeah. I mean, you're at your age and your understanding, you don't even really understand MS, and you're getting told this over a phone. I just think that's just straight up fucked up that a doctor's office would even do that to you. And
Yes.
how did you handle that, Ash? Being your age and being told that, hey, you know what? By the way, you got MS. How did you handle that phone call?
Um, Honestly, I don't really remember. I think it's because my body just went into shock. And because I was by myself, I didn't have anybody with me.
Yeah.
So I was getting that huge news over the phone, not having anybody to hug, you know?
Yeah, I know, and it's like your head's spinning. I know when I got told that, your head's spinning, and then you got family members. I wasn't married yet, but I had a fiance, and they're asking questions, and I'm trying to figure out what the fuck's going on, and it's just a very confusing period of time, especially for somebody at your age, of your diagnosis. You're trying to figure it out, and you got everybody else asking you questions, and we don't even know. I mean, I didn't
Yeah.
have it figured out until I was probably maybe 30, 3 years into my journey. I'm like, okay, now I a little bit understand what MS is all about, and I can start explaining it a little
Yeah.
bit better. But it's a hard thing at that age.
Yeah. I'm just now, 11 years in, and I'm just now understanding multiple sclerosis.
Yeah. I'm still learning things, Ash. I'm 28,
Yeah.
and every time I talk to somebody, I've learned something new because this disease is so different. If it affects us different, and we handle it different. And I know we had a great conversation yesterday how you handled it. I went down that same path too. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So it started off with just a few drinks here and there, but I would say about 4 years ago was when it really became an issue.
Okay.
I was drinking probably, I started out really small, but at that point, I had a pretty good tolerance. And I had moved up to, 6 beers a night. And then I moved up to 10 every other day. And then I would get a 12 pack with my husband, and
Mhm.
we would we would drink that together, and then it would just be more and more and more. We were both alcoholics.
Right.
And
I know that
so
I know that when we were talking yesterday and we were talking about the alcohol part and how we used it kind of as a tool after we got our diagnosis to manage our MS. And I did the same thing. I would come home from work and, it wasn't that I was getting drunk, but I was like having 5 or 6 beers just to go to sleep at night. And,
mhm.
and a lot of us do that because we're in pain. I got the neuropathy and I use that as a tool. And I don't anymore now that I'm 55 years old. And that's kind of like, I think you learned too, after like 2 years ago, you hit that wall where you said, you know what, I can't do this anymore with my disease. And I love that about that part of the story, Ash.
Yeah, so once okay, so when I first started, I was drinking because I was sad about what was happening with my body, like my symptoms.
Hmm.
And then it became, well, now I have mentally how it messed with me. And it felt like the only way that I would stop thinking about it was if I was drinking or if I was shit-faced drunk.
Yeah.
I didn't have time to cry about it, you know?
Right. Yeah, I mean, that was a coping mechanism. I know I went through the same periods of time, and I still drink now today. But I know we talked earlier. I just changed the way I do it. I don't drink beer anymore.
Yeah,
Because I don't like having to go to the bathroom. Every 5 minutes. And now I don't even miss it. I drink when I'm up at the lake in the summer. I sip on a whiskey or a bourbon. But in starting November 1st, I'll be alcohol free pretty much for the next 6 months, and because I don't need it anymore.
right.
It's not something I need to cope with this disease, but I know that was a tool, and I know a lot of people use that as a tool. I understand that, and sometimes it can spiral into straight up alcoholism. And with you, you were able to get help, and I know your dad helped out a lot about that with that. And you talk a little bit
Oh,
about that.
absolutely.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that, Ash.
Sure. So on my last night of drinking, I had drank 30 beers in 12 hours. And I had gotten on the phone with my dad, and I don't remember doing it, but I believe him that I did. I had told him that I needed help. And his wife, my stepmom, was like, they only ask once, we need to go. And the next morning they had packed up their stuff and their 6 month old dog into their car and drove all the way down here from Michigan. And my dad had gone to my mother-in-law's house to get help, setting me up with kind of like an intervention with just the two of them.
Hmm.
And I hear, my doorbell going off, and I go to the door, and I thought it was just going to be my dad standing there, and it was both of them standing there. And I was like, holy shit, like my fun is over. And it was like shocking to me. But in my heart, I knew immediately that this is what they're here for. And this is enough like love for me to want to go and be better. Yeah. So I did. I went to rehab back in 2023. Yes, my last day of drinking was, oh my God,
Two
when
years,
was it?
2 years ago, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
9/23/23. Yes, I
Yeah.
just hit my 2 year mark.
Awesome. Congratulations, Ash.
Thank you.
Hmm. Now,
Thank
how
you.
how has being sober helped you with your MS, and how has it helped with the mental part of it? Because I know the mental part of it is a
Oh
struggle.
my, yeah. So mentally, it's really fucked me up, Brian.
Yeah.
It's better now, but when I was first diagnosed, mentally it had me totally screwed.
I understand that. I know when I first got diagnosed, I mean, I didn't understand what was going on, first of all. And then plus I had other issues from earlier in my my life, my dad dying when I was 15 years old that I never addressed. So I had that mental health issue that I never dealt with. And then I get this diagnosis at a young age, 27. I really struggled hard. I turned to the alcohol. Um, I never drank on a like a daily basis, but I was a social drinker. And I used it as a tool. I used it as a tool for my depression. I used it as a tool for my MS. Because the mental part of this journey is just it never ends. It never leaves you. You wake up with it, you go to sleep with it, and everywhere in between. You never ever get a break. And that's the hardest part for me is that mental part. You never get a break from it.
Yeah, you know what'll really screw you up is when you have a dream about how you can run and you wake up thinking that you can still run and you can't.
I know.
That's one of the mental fucks I'm talking about.
I've done that so many times. I've woken up, thinking that I was still playing hockey or football or running a
Right.
triathlon, and I'm like, no, okay, we're just gonna try to get out of bed today, and that'll be a good day. I mean, it's like that's the reality. I mean, we live with that every day. We have memories of when we can do the things that we used to love to do, and we can't do them anymore. We can't take care of our kids the way we want to. We can't go to
Right.
events the way we want to. I've missed out on a lot of family events because of my MS, because of the way I was feeling. And people don't understand that. They think we're antisocial, and that's the least thing that I am is antisocial. But when I feel like shit, sometimes I just don't feel like being around people. But people don't get that.
Yeah.
The society doesn't get that.
Yeah. I just now started telling people, like, no, I'm not coming over today. I do not feel right. I finally have the confidence to be able to do that.
It's a hard thing to do because you got guilt. You feel guilt
Yeah.
from everywhere, and you feel guilt from yourself. You beat yourself up.
Yeah.
Why did I get this disease? I said that to myself a lot when I was 27. What the fuck did I do to get MS? And it took me years to figure out. I didn't do shit, man. I was just the unlucky one that got it. Yeah, it is what it is. You can't do anything about it. You can't change it. You just got to figure out how you're going to attack it. And I know that I love the way that you figured it out. You sobered up, and the way that you're attacking it now. I just absolutely love that about you, Ash.
Oh, thank you.
So talk to me a little bit about family. I know that you went through a divorce, and I know that affects our MS, and I know that you're back with another guy now, and he's a strong support system for you. So just talk to me about your support system that you have with
Yeah.
Ash. Yep.
Yeah. So I have great support here. I have my husband and his parents, and I'm very, very supported. Eddie sees everything going on with me day in and day out, and he helps me as much as possible and then some.
Hmm.
He sees the struggles with parenting and the I didn't have it today, honey. Can you do the dishes now? Even though you just worked 14 hours, now he's got to pick up the slack.
Yeah.
And that's another guilt thing, another mental thing.
Yep.
You know,
Oh yeah.
he is really supportive, and his mother, she's just wonderful. So
That's so important.
when I
Hmm. Yep.
yeah, when I was pregnant with our son, I actually had the biggest flare up of my life, and I was actually not able to be awake more than 2 hours a day. And my mother-in-law had to feed me and wipe me after I used the bathroom and like bathe me and stuff.
Yeah.
And that, here we go again, mental. Like
Mental.
it's just one thing after another, you know?
Yeah, and for you specifically, you are very young, and you have to have people taking care of you like that, and that's part of this mental brain fuck that we go through, with this disease that people just don't understand, and when they see us out in public, they see us putting the front on. They see us putting a smile on our face, and they're like, "Oh my God, you look so good. You're really kicking MS's ass." And I'm always thinking to myself, yeah, you're only seeing about an hour of me.
Yeah.
Come back and see the other 23 I live with the rest of the day. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and I don't like to say that people are stupid because I don't think anybody is stupid. I think people are ignorant and they just don't
Yes.
understand. They don't understand the disease, and they don't take the time to try to understand it. They don't ask us questions. I wish people just ask me questions. I've had this disease for 28 years, and I nobody really talks to me about it. Like, hey, Brian, what's this like? What's this like? I mean, well,
Yeah.
I'm talking family, friends, my kids even. I got a 23-year-old and a 26-year-old. My daughter asked me a lot more questions about my MS in her lifetime than my son. But that's two different personalities. And so we gotta manage all these different personalities with our MS and how we explain it to them, how they understand it. And I
Mm-hmm.
just wish that everybody just wanted to learn about it, learn what it's like, learn what we go through, learn how fucked up the disability system is. And I know that you've been through that. And because you were so young and your working career hardly even started. So you didn't even have enough credits with
Correct.
SSI to get disability. And I just think that's fucked up. The system all the way around is broke. Talk about that a little bit, Ash.
Yeah. So I first applied for disability back in 2020. They didn't tell me until like 2 years later, that I didn't have enough working hours to be able to qualify for disability. Um, Basically, when I first moved here to Virginia, that's when I started working like full time.
Right.
And I was working at Tropical Smoothie, and I was there for probably 3 months. And my boss offered me a position to be a shift manager.
Mm-hmm.
So I was doing that, and I was walking, believe it or not, to and from work every day, a mile both ways. And I was doing everything I possibly could. And I was pregnant too.
Mm-hmm.
And I had that huge exacerbation, and it stopped everything for me.
Right.
No, it didn't stop everything because I continued to find other work when I recovered from that, what happened.
Right.
So then I moved on to other jobs, but I had to quit each of them because of optic neuritis.
Yeah.
So I've had optic neuritis probably 6 times, 6 or 7 times.
Yeah, and
So
and your field, your vision. Explain your optic neuritis because everybody's optic neuritis is a little bit different too. I mean, my optic neuritis, I see double vision. They corrected putting prism in my lenses. My lenses are thick as freaking Coke bottles, like a half inch thick. If I didn't have those in my frames, I'd be seeing two of everything, and I couldn't drive. I couldn't do this. That's my optic neuritis. How does your optic neuritis, your optic nerve affected, and how does it affect your vision?
yeah, so my left eye, it feels like my eyeball is up on my forehead, and my right eye feels like it's heavy, like it's a rock just setting in my eye socket. It's the weirdest thing.
Yeah. Now you can't see like you can only see like a tunnel vision, right? Like out of the one eye, you can only
Yeah,
like you
so
can't see things on the right and left of you or up and down. You only see a tunnel vision, right?
yeah, so the way that mine looks to me is that it's clouds all around a little circle. So I can see through the clouds, but they're pretty hard to see through.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, and I think I've gotten all of it back that I've lost that I'm going to get back because I've been, healing this eye for 3 years, 4 years.
Yeah.
So I've gotten what I'm going to get back of it, I think.
I understand that. Yeah, I mean that's been my vision's been my worst part of my MS. I mean, I struggle with walking now. I have to use a walker and a wheelchair sometimes. But my eyes have been my worst enemy. I went from the double vision when I was 27, and my prism has gotten increased more and more to the thickness that it is now. And I'm to the point now where I don't even know if my eye doctor is going to be able to correct it if it gets any worse. So if it gets any worse, I won't be able to drive. I'll lose the ability. I'll lose the ability to do a lot of things, So and that's just part of this stupid game we're playing. What this disease does to you,
Yeah.
and that's more of the mental brain, the mind fuck that I go
Yeah.
through. I got to worry
Well,
about
the
my
thing,
eyes. I got to worry about my eyes every freaking day.
right. Well, the thing is one thing that I've heard in the community is one way we describe it is we are constantly grieving. We are grieving the loss of something in our body. We're grieving the loss of who we were before we got the MS. It's a lot of grieving,
Yeah, yeah,
which can mentally take a huge toll, you know?
yeah. It's all the mental part of it. It's all the mental part of it. So talk to me a little bit about your
Mhm.
DMTs, Ash. What kind of DMT did they put you on, and are you still on the same one? And how did that journey go with you?
Okay, so I first started my DMTs back in 2015, and I started on Tecfidera. And I think I was on it for a year and a half, and they found a new lesion on my brain. So then they switched me over to Copaxone, which is 3 shots a week that you self-administer. And I did that for probably 2 years, 2 or 3 years, and they found more lesions. So they switched me again to Ocrevus, and that is a um, infusion.
Right.
And I did that for a couple of years, and then I'm on my newest one, and that's called Mavenclad.
Yeah, I know
So I've been on 5.
I know yeah, I know when we met on TikTok and we were on a live and we were talking about our DMTs and you said Mavenclad, I'm like, hey, that was my last DMT too. And I'm doing really good on it. I mean, a knock on wood. It was a different type of a therapy. I've never had that. The type that it's like a chemo, and it's a pill form chemo that is normally used for leukemia. It wipes out your B cells and T cells, I think it is, and your immune system builds them back up. And I went through the 2 year cycle. And I just finished my last cycle of it in June of last year, and I'm still doing good. So
Oh, that's
I
good.
mean, for me, Mavenclad's been good. How have you been tolerating it?
I love it. So I just took my last dose of it, of my last dose of my second year,
Okay.
about a month ago.
Okay.
And the first time I took it a year ago, it made me really tired. But other than that, I have no side effects on it.
Yeah, that same as me. I really have had very little side effects, if any. I think my biggest
Mhm.
fear when I first started it, my first year doing it, in the summertime, I did it in June and it was really hot out and the sun was out. And I'm thinking,
Oh no.
okay, a chemo, a leukemia chemo. So I was afraid to be out in the sun and I put sunscreen on a little bit more. My second year, I didn't even bother with it. I didn't have any issues with it. And I've liked it. I mean, not that I give props to any DMT because I hate having to take anything.
I know.
But I mean, for me, it's been a good DMT so far. I hope I never have to take anything ever again. That's what the hope is with Mavenclad. You don't have to do another booster. Hopefully, the rest of my life. If my MS stays calm, and that's what I'm hoping Mavenclad does. So let's talk a little bit about the community that we met on TikTok, because I know that it is an important community to you. It is very important to me, and I'm a 55-year-old guy that hated social media just a couple of years ago, and now here I am on TikTok and doing podcasts and all this other shit. And I absolutely love TikTok. It is so important. It's almost a daily thing in my life. Just talking to the people that I can relate with, that understand this disease, that understand what I'm talking about. Not like like somebody staring at me like what. And I love that community. It is an awesome community. Talk a little bit about what you do on TikTok, how we met, and how important it is to you, Ash.
Yeah, so I met Brian when I was just in a room. We have like group chats, and so there'll be, how many is it, Brian? Nine?
Yeah,
Nine
nine,
boxes?
nine when it's full. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So he was in a box one day, I was in a box one day, and he was talking about his podcast. And so we had chatted about it for a little while, and we have an awesome community on TikTok. You know, there's a friend in every room, and it's so welcoming and loving, and I love being a part of it.
And they're from all over the world. I mean, we talk with people that are from over in the UK, or over in Ireland, or over in France, or over in Canada. And it's just freaking awesome, man. Just talking to people that they don't live in our country, they don't live in our state, they don't live in our city, but we can have a conversation with them, and they understand everything that we're talking about, and we learn so much from them, from where they're at, where they live, and it's just an awesome community. I love it. I love it. What
So
if anybody wants to find you on your TikTok, what is your handle on TikTok? Because I absolutely love it, and I'm going to put this in the description, and we're not done talking yet, but I definitely want you to get your TikTok name out there.
sure. Okay, so my TikTok name is Schlap by Ash.
And I absolutely love that. I will definitely put that in the description and put the right spelling of it. She spells it with SCH. But yeah, her nickname is, or her name on TikTok is Schlap My Ash. And we have a lot of people have orange hearts on next to their name. That's a sign of MS. That's the color for MS. So a lot of people have that next to their name. And if anybody is out in just out there in limbo, and if they're trying to go through a diagnosis, I've talked to a lot of people on TikTok that are brand new in this journey, and they're scared. And it has helped so many people just to understand that there are people out there that get you, that understand and can talk to you, and aren't going to downgrade you and say you're lazy or fatigued, or you're not trying hard enough. I mean, that community just gets it. It really does.
Yeah, like there's a lot of personal things that get shared in there, and you've always got someone that can relate to you or help you through it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I know that we've had people come into our rooms that were brand new. They and
Oh, yeah.
they break down in tears, and they're crying in the room, and we just pick them up, and we let them know that
Yeah.
you're gonna be okay. We
I
know.
kind of,
Go ahead.
we kind of hold their hand, you know,
Yeah,
and welcome them in.
yeah. Well, and just to let them know that they are gonna be okay. No matter
Yeah.
how bad they think it is right now, the sun is gonna come up in the morning, and you're gonna be okay.
Yes.
So let me switch back to the mental part of it again, Ash, and I want to ask you about your journey with your mobility devices, because I know being diagnosed at a young age, and you started having to use a cane a lot earlier than me. I was 45, and I really, really struggled. I mean, I was a 45-year-old man, and I struggled like hell using a cane. I wanted to talk about how you managed that, the mental part of it being your age. So can you tell me a little bit about your mobility devices?
Sure. So when I when I had that huge flare up and I was pregnant was when I got my first mobility aid. And it wasn't a cane, it was straight up walker immediately. And it was so hard for me. That was a tough pill to swallow. It really was. Because for me, you know, as a woman, I like having my cute little strut and swinging my hips when I walk and,
Yeah.
like a lady.
Right.
And it was just completely taken from me.
Yeah, I know it, and that's part of this mind fuck that we go through. I know I went through the same thing when I was 45. I'm a guy. I'm a strong guy. I played football at the University of Michigan. I should be a strong guy still. And when I had to break down and use a cane just to keep my balance, I kind of went dormant, man. I isolated. I didn't want to be out in public more than I had to be. I even fought. I would leave the cane in my car, and
Oh, wow.
struggle walking 30 feet just because I didn't want to be seen with that thing. I mean, that's how bad I was. I mean, I struggled hard. And I know a lot of people do, but I now, I use a walker. I still use a cane. I use a wheelchair, but it's independence, and I can still do things. And,
Yeah.
I actually miss sporting events of my kids because I didn't want to use a walker or a cane or a wheelchair. And I kicked myself in the ass every day because of that. It was stupid.
Yeah.
What does it matter? What does it matter what you use to get from point A to point B as long as you're getting there? Who gives a fuck what everybody thinks?
Right.
I suck my pride up and now I'm like, hey, if I'm if I need it, me and my wife went out the other day and I used my wheelchair. I haven't used it in probably a year, but I knew
Yeah.
what we were doing, I was going to need it, and I used it, and thank God I did. We had a great time, and I would do it again. And you just got to do it. Yeah, you got to make those decisions. Sometimes they really are mental draining decisions, but you got to make them to make your life easier and better.
Yeah. So with me, with my son, he's in baseball. So I don't go to his practices, but I make sure that I make it for his games. And I'll tell you what, having kids will make you realize you could do things you never knew you could.
Absolutely. I mean, I used my kids as my motivation back when they were babies.
Absolutely.
When they were babies and toddlers and all that, I'm like, you know what? This is why you're going to the gym every day and getting on that elliptical
Hmm.
and keeping your legs strong so you can still be as part of their life as long as you can, and you just gotta, it's a
Right.
fight and you gotta figure out how you want to attack it and you gotta attack it your way and go after it 100%.
Yeah.
So, Ash, I mean, I absolutely love talking to you. You're just an amazing lady. And I could sit here and talk to you all day, and you have an open invitation to always record if you ever want to come on and talk about anything else with your MS. But if anybody is in a similar situation as you, and they're struggling with alcoholism or the mental part of it, or being a 20-year-old or a 21-year-old or a 19-year-old getting diagnosed with this disease, what would you say to them? As motivation to keep on fighting this fight and not give up.
I would tell them if you're fighting MS or addiction, that this is for you. You're not your pain. You're the fire that keeps burning through it. And some days surviving is enough, but some days breathing is the victory. You're still here. You're still fighting, and that means you're winning.
And that is absolutely beautiful, Ash. Love that. I love talking to you. You're just an amazing lady. Like I said, you're still young. I mean, you're 33 years old. You got kids, and you're just fighting this fight. And you just want people to understand what it is like, and that you're going to be okay. And I just really appreciate you. And like I said, you have an open invitation to come on anytime you want.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me today. It's been awesome.
All right. Thank you, Ash. If you want to follow me on TikTok, you can find me at MS Michigan Man 64. You can also find me on Instagram, MS Michigan Man 64, and I'm on Facebook, Brian Wallace out of Brunswick, Ohio. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Until the next episode, it's the MS Michigan Man 64. I am out.